Here's the question we are going to be looking at today. Universities should be free for all students. To what extent do you agree? So it gives you a statement. Universities should be free for all students. That's it. And then it's up to you whether you agree or you disagree. And that is what the question is asking you to do. I think it's best at this stage is to stick to one, either fully agree or fully disagree. There are other ways to answer it, but for this video, let's just look at fully disagree. The question will always ask you to include relevant details from your knowledge and experience. And that's what we're going to be looking at in the plan. First thing we need to do in the plan is we need to think about our structure. And if you've watched the other videos, you know the best way to do it is a cheeseburger structure. Let me show you. So this is the cheeseburger structure, and as you know from watching the other video that you can check out in more detail just here, the cheeseburger is the introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, finally the conclusion. Very important to always use this structure, the double cheeseburger method, because it always organizes your writing and it really helps when you have this structure and a plan to go with it. So let's move straight on to the plan. In this cheeseburger structure for this type of essay, it will be an introduction where it sums up the question and you give your opinion straight away in the introduction. In the first body paragraph, you give your first reason why you agree or you disagree. The second body paragraph, you give the second reason why you agree or you disagree. And in the conclusion, you summarize your points and give your final concluding statement or your opinion. Now you need to start thinking of all the different reasons you can. This is the planning section of the essay, and I like to call it brainstorming. So now I'm going to think of some ideas of why I disagree that universities should be free for all students. Number one is that, it will not actually be free. There will always be somebody paying. And in this case, I think it might be the taxpayers. Number two, it could devalue the degrees. If everybody has a degree, then they're not worth anything because there's no way to differentiate who is smart and who is not if they don't have a degree or if everybody has a degree. Number three, it would benefit the rich. If we have universities that are free, the rich will invent their own private universities where they can go, which will further widen the gap between rich and poor. Number four, it would be unfair on previous generations of people, or even people a couple of years ago, that fully paid for their education, for now the government to make the whole thing for free. It would not be fair on people that have gone to university previously. I think that is enough points for the brainstorming session. We need to think of two of these, and they're going to be the main meat of our essay. So I'm going to choose devalues degrees and benefit the rich. So because we already have the cheeseburger structure, I know that in this paragraph, paragraph 1, I'm going to be talking about how free universities would devalue degrees. And in the second body paragraph, I'm going to talk about how universities being free will benefit the rich. My essay is already starting to take shape, but it's not even close yet. We're still in the planning stage. We just know what our body paragraphs are going to be about. I'm now going to go on this side of the board so I can write some examples and some details about devaluing degrees and benefiting the rich on this side. So I know that in my first body paragraph, I'm going to be talking about devaluing degrees. Let's think of some reasons that it will devalue the degrees. So my first idea is that everybody will have a degree if they're free, and it will be hard for anybody to stand out. And to stand out, they'll have to go and do a PhD or a master's. My second detail or reason is an example. And I'm going to use the example of in England when everyone had to stay at school till they were 18 and do their A-levels. A-levels got devalued and you needed a higher level to get into the next stage of education. So I'm going to use that as an example. What about the next one? How will universities being free for all students benefit the rich? Let's see. My first example is rich people will pay for a private university if all universities are free. And what's going to happen then? The private universities will get better, they'll get more money because they're getting paid for, which means they'll get the better teachers, which means that the students in the free universities will get bad teachers. So it will benefit the rich because rich people will pay for better education. A good example of this would be the healthcare system in England. Because everyone gets free basic healthcare, there are private hospitals where the rich can go and pay a lot of money, and they will get doctors from all over the world that are paid a big sum of money to do the same operations as the NHS. And the final reason I can think of while I'm still planning my essay is that rich people will be able to afford the higher level of education. So if everyone gets a degree, at the bachelor's level, that means that the rich people will be able to afford to do unpaid interns, which will get them ahead in the industry, or maybe they can afford to do a PhD while they're living at home with their rich parents. All this means that free universities will benefit the rich. We're now starting to get a real idea of how to write the body paragraphs, or the meat of the essay, as I like to call it in my cheeseburger method, which you can check out right here. Okay, so I have my plan. The next thing I need to do is go step by step and show you how to write the introduction, the body paragraphs. Now we have the plan already and how easy it will be for you, and then the conclusion. Let's go. Let me just clean the board first. So here's my plan. I've put it in the smaller writing, so I know we're disagreeing. We have introduction, then free universities would devalue degrees, then free universities would benefit the rich, and then my final conclusion. Let's start with the introduction. Now, you really don't want to be writing the word introduction in your IELTS essay, but just so I can show you, I'm going to have it here, just so you know that we're writing the introduction. What needs to go in the introduction? I'll tell you. First thing you need to do is state your opinion, and we already know that we disagree. So let me write this first. Hold on. My first sentence is, I strongly disagree with the idea that universities should be free for all students. This is absolutely fine. This is a fine example. However, if you paraphrase it a little bit, it will help you out. But the main thing is you have your thesis statement. Okay, you're saying you strongly disagree with the idea that universities should be free for all students. Let's just paraphrase it a little bit. Okay, we can change students and we can change universities. We could change universities to further education, and we can change students to young people. Or we could even change it to high school students. Or we can change it to everyone. Okay, so there's many different ways of doing this. We can say, I strongly disagree with the idea that further education should be free for everyone. It's saying the same thing, but you've paraphrased your answer a little bit, and it might bump up your grade. But the main thing is, in this first sentence of your introduction, you state your position. You say, I strongly disagree. That's not all. Let's see what else we can put in the introduction. So we can say, I strongly disagree with the idea of free further education for everyone. You've paraphrased the introduction and you've stated your position. You've given a thesis statement. You can also, because we've planned, say what you're going to say. Try not to say, in this essay I will, but you can say, I strongly disagree with the idea of free further education for everyone. So you could add on, because it would devalue degrees and only benefit the rich. Now you know that because you've planned, you already know that this is what we're going to talk about. So it's an old speaking way. It's called say, say, say. Say what you're going to say it, and then say what you said, which would be in the conclusion. This is a really good thing to help your introduction and help structure your essay in a logical way. So because we've planned, we can say, so we say our thesis statement, I strongly disagree with the idea of free further education for everyone because it would devalue the degrees and only benefit the rich. This is the magic of planning, paraphrasing, and saying what you're going to say. And then you need to go on to your first body paragraph, which we already know, devalue degrees. Let's go. Okay, in the body paragraph, it's very important that you always start with a topic sentence. A topic sentence is just the sentence that sums up the main idea of the paragraph. And because we've planned, we already know the main idea of the paragraph, and that is that free university education would devalue the degree. So let's write that. So my topic sentence is, making university free for all students would devalue degrees and diplomas. Full stop. Also, you've noticed Here I've used a linking word or a cohesive device, and it really helps give structure to your essay again. So simply, firstly, my first argument. I would always recommend that you start your first body paragraph with a connecting device. I like to use firstly because it keeps it simple and it works quite often in these agree-disagree essays. The next thing you need to do is you need to add examples or details to your topic sentence. You need to develop that idea. So let's have a go now. You can look at your plan to help you, because in the plan we had a couple of ideas of what we could put in. Let's see. So I've added the development sentence. It is basic economics that scarcity is valuable. So if degrees are common, they will be worth much less. So we've added a little bit of detail to how the degrees will become worthless. Next, you can use an example, or you could add further details. So I've given an example. I've chosen A-levels, but IELTS would also have worked. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be true. It just has to be a good example that shows that you can give examples in your writing and in your paragraphs. I've written, in the UK, the government decided that everyone must stay at school until 18. This made A-levels worth less, and people had to get a higher grade to stand out from their peers. You could also add something about the IELTS. Like if someone got a level 7 in IELTS, it would mean people would have to get a 9 to stand out. That is another way you could do it. So you can wrap up the paragraph or just restating your point. So I've added, if university was free, people would have to pay for a PhD to stand out. Now that links to my next paragraph, but again, there's no need to. So just to recap, we have a linking word. We have our topic sentence for the body paragraph. We have developed the idea. We have given an example, and we've wrapped the paragraph up with a possible link to the next paragraph. Let's try body paragraph 2. Now again, you need another topic sentence for body paragraph 2. So let's write one now. Okay, so as you can see, I've done the same thing. Secondly, making further education free for all will only benefit the rich. That's your topic sentence, and you've got a linking word. Secondly, because you know we started the first paragraph with firstly, here we say secondly. You could also say next, you could also say furthermore, or you could also even say in addition to. But I'm going with secondly because I like to keep things simple. Okay, so we've added our topic sentence. Let's develop it a little bit. So I've developed the paragraph, the topic sentences, and I've added rich people like to differentiate themselves, so they would create private universities that charge a high price. Okay, now we can give examples. We looked at the healthcare system, but I think we should keep developing this idea. So if they charge a high price, so now I've developed my argument a little bit more. I've said that the rich would create private universities. And then you've got to think, well, so what? Why do you disagree with that? So I've developed it even further. And I've said, this means that they could pay teachers more, so the good teachers will go to the private institutions, leaving the worst teachers in the free universities. I've then wrapped up my paragraph with a reiteration of why this is a bad thing. This means that people with money will benefit more, and it will widen the gap between rich and poor. That is the end of the second body paragraph. It's got a topic sentence, it's been developed, and it's been summed up at the end with an extra point. The last thing we need to do now is the conclusion, where you say what you've said and restate your opinion in a concluding sentence. Let's do the conclusion. In the conclusion, you just need to restate what your opinion is. So my opinion, as we've established, is we disagree. So I've just restated my opinion. I've said, I strongly believe that we should not make university free for everyone, as it makes degrees worthless and only helps the rich. The only thing I would say to add to this is to add another linking word. And you can literally say, to conclude, or in conclusion, whichever way you fancy. That's it. Read through your essay to check that you have not made any careless mistakes. Remember, the main thing to do is produce error-free sentences. Check your linking words, check your grammar, check your punctuation, and you're done. Well done for staying all the way to the end. That was a very, very long video, I get it. But if you're still here and you are still interested, there is this video here where you can check out exactly the same question, but if you agree, and you can see the agree structure. Also, you can check out this video here, which will help you with any other IELTS tasks. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.